Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting Minecraft tutorial. I am Tyken, and today I'll be doing a video on farm mechanics, farm designs, and basic farming tips for when you're making your own farm. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the bare essentials that you need to know about farming. First of all, water has to be on the same level as your tilted soil in order to hydrate crops. Second of all, one little square of water can hydrate up to 4 blocks away in every direction. This includes diagonally and pretty much all around it. That makes an entire 9 by 9 square of hydrated soil with only one little square of water, which is really interesting. Anyway, let's go over here. This is one of the first farm designs I made while messing around with farms. At first, I kind of got this idea from SemanticX, where he said to put water at the end of it, but I thought, well, that's just stupid. Why not just put it in the middle? That way you can have crops going both ways. This design allows you to have pretty much more for your money. I originally had it where the water was just in between and I had pressure plates holding it back so it didn't overflow. But then I thought, why not have flowing water? That way it looks better and you can actually stack them on top of each other. That way you can literally, build another farm directly on top of it. I'll get more into that in a moment, but first of all, let's go ahead and show you this other design that I made, because I thought this design was nice, but it's inefficient. You don't get as many crops per space. This one is slightly bigger, but it has much more space, and I also learned a lot from messing with that one. This one, it only has one thick stream of water going down the middle, waterfall, but you can also just have the water in the trench if you want this just one story. Anyway, what this does is it basically has the water in the middle, and using what we learned from the thing over there, that water hydrates up to 4 squares away no matter what, we use the water flow design to skip a complete channel in the middle and have this one fully hydrated and everything. And as you can see, all the crops grew perfectly fine and the soil's completely hydrated as well. When I originally had this design, it does work well, but sometimes some of the crops or the seeds fall down the middle. Luckily, I found a neat little solution for that problem, but let's go ahead and harvest this all. What I did over here is let's go ahead and get down here. I made this little conveyor belt thing, and right here in the trench in the middle, right directly under the crops, I put signs so that it was, dry under here. And then I put 1 square of water, so when the crops fall in, it falls into the water and pushes it all the way right here, and you don't have any problems. So that way, if you do drop any crops in the water, they all fall down to this little collection spot, and you have no problems. Originally, this design didn't have cactus right here on the sides, but then I had lots of problems with squid. The cacti do kill the squid. As you can see, I have no more problems with them, but it does destroy some of the product, so that is a slight problem. Then again, you shouldn't really have any problems with squids on a regular world. I have problems with squids on this one because it's my test world and there's no other sources of water for them to spawn into. But anyway, like I said, you can put it just in the trench and cover it with glass, so you don't even have to worry about squids or the crops falling in there. But the benefits to this design is you can literally build an exact duplicate on top of this one and keep stacking it up, so you can have multiple farms in kind of like a massive skyscraper. This would work. It would be kind of a hassle to collect it all, but it would be really neat because you wouldn't have to have massive expanding farms all across creation. All you would need is just one really tall farm. The problem with this, though, is that, like I said, you do get squid sometimes, but that's pretty much the only real problem. And if you use that conveyor design, then you shouldn't have to worry about losing any crops either. Before I go ahead and skip the day, though, I did want to mention one other thing, that apparently water can hydrate crops even if it's flowing like a waterfall design. I decided to try this out because technically the water would be touching that square, and apparently it does work. So it doesn't have to be a sitting source of water. It can be flowing down or even across. Like, you don't need to completely fill this thing as long as it touches all the edges. Anyway, let's go ahead and skip today and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and get on to the next thing. Over here, I wanted to show also how you can use this little water design trick where you can hydrate a massive field with minimal amount of water taking up space. As you can see here, I only have 9 little spots of water throughout the entire thing, and it hydrates this entire massive field. I believe it's 27 by 27, if my math is right. I haven't checked in a while. But anyway, I also mentioned stacking farms is possible. Over there, I pretty much used this design here. What I did over here is I basically just made the same design. That way, when you come through here, you punch all these. Then you come up here, and you punch all these, and you collect them. Of course, there'll be a wall on the other side, so all that doesn't fall over the edge. And then you would punch all the way across here as well, just like that. And then when you get to the top, you can either go back and hit the other side that you missed, or you can just come up here where the water source is. I put a little water thing here, and it just drops all the way here. And you can easily exit out. When I first made this design, I figured it works well enough, but I think I can do better. And I'll show you the other design in a moment. This one does maximize lighting, so the light source is literally directly above the crops. That way you get maximum lighting for your crops. Of course, you don't have the benefits of the sun, but it isn't generally needed, especially, like I said, if you have enough light. And I mean, it's not like you're going to be sitting there waiting for your farm all day. You're gonna of course go mining and stuff, and then when you get back, it should all be grown mostly. Anyway, I decided to try this design, which I decided to cut in half so I didn't have to build an entire example like this. Plus, you can kind of see it better. It's pretty much that same design, but you can make it as infinitely long as you want in any direction. I just made it this short for convenience. As you can see, it does work, and you're wondering, like, where's the light? Where's the sun? If you look up there, or even right here, I kind of have it hidden right under the walkway, kind of. As you can see, I might do more tutorials for this, so you can figure out how to build all these precisely. But I have the dirt, space for the crops, then the torches, and the same block the torches are on is the path to the next tier. So you just climb up here, and then you run along punching all these crops. And then you go to the next tier and run along punching all the crops. I left the third tier intentionally blank. As you can see, it continues to get water and hydrate it no matter what. And then you're wondering, where's the water source? What's going on with that? I'll go ahead and show you right now. Let's go ahead and switch to this. And let's go ahead and go to the top. Okay, now, as you can see here, I made this massive waterfall from the top of this thing going down the back of it. Let's go ahead and go down here. So the water touches the back of this thing, and touching the back isn't even necessary, but we're using the same principle design we learned over there, that water flowing or whatever can hydrate crops up to 4 spaces away. So what we did with this design is I made a waterfall coming down the back. Even though there's a wooden block in the way and the water's not even directly touching the crops, you can see they're still able to grow and able to, you know, completely stay hydrated no matter what. It's a really interesting design, and I was really proud with this. What you can do is you can copy this and make another one directly on the other side of it. So it's kind of like that, where you have crops on both sides. But yeah, this is just a little mock-up design, which I'm actually really proud of this one. It came out really nice, and I may use that design eventually. What you could even do is if you made this on the surface, and you can make these underground, by the way, depending on where you want it, whether you want something hidden underground or a massive tower showing how great your crops are. You can break out the backing of it, and you can have this cool little water window on the other side. That way it looks really cool, and it still has functionality. But anyway, let's go over here and show you some more designs that I've made. Well, this design, well, actually, let's go over here first. Let me show you the basic design. When I made this, I was thinking, I wonder if you can just put it in the corners. That way you don't have to worry about any water source in the middle. And as you can see, it does work, because using the basic principles we learned over there again, that water hydrates up to 4 squares away, even diagonally. So I basically made a 4x4 square coming out from each water source, connecting it to each other. And as you can see in the middle, it's completely hydrated, no worries about it. Of course, the problem is if you don't want the crops on the ground, or else you're going to trample across it when you harvesting them, and then you're going to have to replow all the land, and you're going to have to wait for it to hydrate again, and it's just a lot of hassle. So generally you're going to want to raise it, and then you can have waterfalls coming down to hydrate it, or you can even just have it sitting here if you want it, kind of like I have there. But let's see. Let me show you another bigger example that I decided to use to test it out full scale. I'm not really happy with this design, but it does work. What this design does is it basically uses the 4 square principle, which I've been using. I have water within 4 squares coming down, and it's exactly like the other one, but I decided to use the 4 spaces away from it as well. That way all this stays hydrated. And as you can see, I put rows between them, raised up design like I showed before. Let me get that. Apparently, I must have stepped on those earlier. Oh, and they just hydrate it like that. But these maximize efficiency better, where that way you have crops on either side, that way you don't have a row in between each one, and you can hit them all and pretty much gather them without having to worry or step on anything. And the water flow comes from the ceiling into this little hole right here, so you don't have to worry about the water spilling out. But again, if you don't like water pouring down like that, what you can always do is block this off. Let me just, there we go, and have your water source, well, first of all, you put a pressure plate right there, and then you put your water source there, and there, you have your water right there, and you don't have to worry about the water flowing over. You can also put glass over this so none of your crops fall in there as well, like so. And there, you have a neat little thing. Of course, it doesn't look as cool, but I like it. Anyway, let's go ahead and show you another design. I actually found this design. I didn't create it myself. This design I really like the most. It's a spiral design, and it really does maximize efficiency. It doesn't really maximize space so well, but it really is efficient. What you do is you have crops on either side. Let me go ahead and show you. Basically what you do is you go around the edges punching all the crops, and they're easy to collect. And you pretty much do this around the entire way, and then it kind of loops over when you get to the middle, and then you pretty much just go all the way back, hitting all the others, and then it brings you directly back to the exit. And as you can see, you gather pretty much all of your crops in one easy swoop. That's one thing I like about this design. It's really easy to harvest. Up here you can see I have all these little torches directly above the crops as well to maximize efficiency for lighting. And here I have one little spiral of water. It's really hard to see like this, but what it does is it also uses the 4 square principle, where it hydrates crops up to 4 squares away. As you can see from right here, here's the water, 1 square, 2 square, and 3 square. So that way, even though the water isn't touching, and even though it's kind of far away, it hydrates all the way to this corner perfectly. And pretty much using the same design with a little arc thing. This design, I really liked it, but I was like, I wonder if you can actually expand it, or if that's the biggest you can make it. So I decided to try, oops, I fell. I decided to try another design, much bigger design, as you can see here. And of course it has squids in it. Anyway, I decided to use more glass for this one as well, to let more lighting in, as well as enabling you to see everything clearer. Pretty much uses the exact same design with a water trench. It's a real spiral design. That's kind of the design as well. But let's go ahead and show you. Let's get a better view, because you can't probably see well from here. Let's see. Here we go. This one, since I put glass in the middle, it's much easier to see how the trenches are, and it just continues to kind of skirt around the edges. You basically have tilted soil, an empty space for you to walk, the opposite side with tilted soil. Then in the middle you have water, then tilted soil, space for walking, tilted soil, and you pretty much just keep repeating this in a spiral pattern. It's a really simple design, but I do plan on making a tutorial for you all eventually if you like it. I also have glass in the middle over the water, so you don't have to worry about squids messing anything up, or, you know, any other problems. The interesting thing about this and every other design of farm is you can technically tier this as well, having multiple layers of this stacked on top of each other. But instead of using glass in the middle, you of course would have to use you would have to get rid of the glass and have the water pouring like a waterfall. I wouldn't really recommend tiering this design, considering you can just expand it to your needs, but it is a really nice design, and I like it. But anyway, it's getting dark, and I think this is about it for this tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope it was informational and taught you all a lot of lessons about farming and water mechanics. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, and if you have any questions or want me to make a tutorial on certain farm designs, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you guys